This principle of success is called the Mastermind principle.
The Mastermind Your Life podcast. If you're wanting to realize your ideas, goals, and dreams, and on the journey of masterminding your life, it's time for the podcast made just for you. This is the Mastermind Your Life podcast.
Let's go.
With Tolu Owoyemi.
Hey, what's going on, my masterminders? Welcome to another episode of Mastermind Your Life. We got AJ Simmons in the house, founder of the Clean Biz Network, founder of Calculated Clean Mobile. I'm talking about cleaning business, mogul entrepreneur, teaching you how to start your commercial cleaning business. AJ, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tolu, for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here. And, it's a Sunday afternoon, so you done caught me in my guest room here. I couldn't get to the office today, but I'm going to work with it nonetheless.
Nah, man, that's the perfect setup, man. I think the most important thing is that you're here to share the knowledge and drop the gems and, talk to people about your journey and what your thoughts and desires for the future is and kind of like some of your strategic thinking. So, we appreciate you just being here in person.
Absolutely, man. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. Man, so, I think the first thing is why the cleaning business? And I think a lot of people actually think the owner is the one actually going into these places and like cleaning and stuff like that. But I feel like there's so much that you're about to drop and unravel and teach us. But please go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I got into the cleaning industry because when I was like 17 years old, 18, somewhere around that age, I worked for a guy we used to call him Pops. And he had a cleaning company, right? And so when payday came around, he cut us all checks, and it was like printed checks. There wasn't like no handwritten check. And then it hit me. I was like, wow, this is a black man who actually has checks, and we can go cash these checks, right? So I'm like, wait a minute. How do you do this, right? So I asked him, do you need a degree to do this? Like, what you doing? He's like, no, you don't need no degree to start a business. And I was like, wow, I'm about to do that. Because I knew that I hated high school already as it was, right? So I was like, I knew I wasn't going to college because I could barely get through high school in peace. So when he told me about that, and I seen how he was living, he was driving his little Audi, he was living in the high-rise condos downtown. And so I was like, man, this is what I'm going to do. So as soon as I came across some money, I just invested into a cleaning company.
Wow. And talk about because even to have the mind to be like, all right, like I see what he's doing. I want to start my own one day. Did you grow up like around entrepreneurship? Like, were one of your parents like entrepreneurs? Like, what kind of gave you that hunger to be like, you know what, I want to do my own one day? Yeah,
man. What's crazy? I hate to say I was born like that, but it's really like I didn't know anybody in my family or anything that was in business. It was more so like I just was always gravitated to, I want to be in charge. I want to do what I want. I've always been hard-headed. You know what I mean? So I always been the guy to go against the grain. I just like my freedom, man. So I always knew like, hey, I hate school because I hate these people telling me what to do. Then when I started getting jobs, I hated jobs because I hated people telling me what to do. And I felt like they weren't paying enough, right? So it was like the combination of that. And when I think back to my childhood, it's like, I liked Diddy. I didn't like Biggie, right? I mean, Biggie was cool, but I really liked Diddy. He seemed like he was in charge of me. You know what I mean? So it was like, I liked Suge Knight. Tupac was cool. I could resonate with it. But I always, for some reason, I gravitated to the business guy. I'm like, wait a minute. That guy cool. He in the camera. But what's that guy back there doing, right? So I always just gravitated. Russell Simmons was another one. Then he had my last name. So it was like, I just always felt like I want to be the guy that's in charge that can do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? But neither one of my parents were entrepreneurs. I still give them credit for who I am, though, because, my mom, she still had that determination to make it as a single mom with 3 kids and fight and make sure that our lights never got cut off and stuff like that. And then my dad, he's just a big-hearted person, so I think I take her determination and drive and combine it with his big heart to help people and try to form it into the best entrepreneur that I could be.
Wow, that's extremely powerful. Now, usually, when I talk to people, they did a whole bunch of different things before they finally found that thing that, they can, take off and kind of run with. What did you have like those early, like, hey, I was doing this, I was selling CDs out of here, I was shipping up boxes, and what were some of those things that you had your hands in?
This is a good question. I've done a few of these interviews, and this is the first time somebody got me to think of some things I haven't said before. So I'll tell you one of the hustles. I've always done stuff, right? But one of the hustles was I used to change people's report cards, right? So I was always good with computers, right? And
man.
Word got around school like, hey, he changing everybody in the neighborhood report cards. You got all F's. He can scan them onto his computer, change that F into an A, you know what I mean? Just take it home by your mom, right? So that was my little hustle. The next thing I know, people were riding the bus all the way from the other side of town trying to go to my house. They come in there, pay me my money, and I give them their fake report card, and then we was good. So that was one of my hustles. The other one I always like to tell people is when I was 14, so I wasn't old enough to work. I couldn't get a working permit because when you turn 15, you can get a working permit to get a job. But I wasn't even old enough to do that. But I was 14. For some reason, I always hung with older people, but they always, for whatever reason, tended to look up to me because I guess they said I was mature for my age. So, but they all got jobs working for a company called Liberty Tax, just passing out flyers, right? And the job was paying at the time. It was like a high amount. I think minimum wage back then was like $5.25 an hour, but that job was paying like way more than minimum wage. So somehow I negotiated my way into letting them hire me too. And so I'm out there passing out flyers, and I've been working ever since I was 14. So it was always in me to figure out a way to get my own, and not always have to ask my parents for some money, right?
Definitely. Now, the Pops character, it seems like he's really interesting, and he played like a pivotal role, and I think we all have the Pops character at one point or so in our lives, and you said he had the Audi, the high rise, and we see stuff like that, and he probably had some kind of swag or charisma to himself.
Yep.
When you were working with him and you saw him, like you said, it wasn't no handwritten check at the last minute, some greasy fingers like, yo, here you go, but it was, like you say, it was automated, it was systemized. It was like more thought and structure to it. Did you ask him like, hey, look, I want to start my own cleaning business? And then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna show you some of these ropes, or kind of like how did it evolve from Pops?
Well, honestly, so Pops, and I actually ironically ran into him, but maybe last year after not seeing him for years, right? So wow. I actually met him through my friend who was working for him first, and so they was really more close. Like, he was my friend's mentor. I wasn't that close to Pops. He barely knew my name, right? So, but I just asked him that one time whenever I got a chance, like, so I asked him about what does it take to do this, and he told me you don't need a degree, right? But that was pretty much all I really got from Pops. Pops was a different, like, he was just solopreneur, right? This guy, he's out there cleaning 20 buildings a day. You know what I mean? Wow. Out there hustling, getting it. So he never graduated to that point of learning how to create systems and hire people to work for you. Like, he hired us, but he had to take us to every building. He was out there with us. He would clean a little bit, but he pretty much was there while we cleaned, and then he'd take us to the next building. So he never really, hit that next level that I felt like he could have hit. But so he didn't really handhold me and mentor me, but I was always a good observer, and I learned by just simply watching him and say, okay, that's what I think he's doing wrong, and this is what I think he's doing right. I'm going to learn from that and take it from there. And honestly, over time, you come across other mentors and learn from them, right? And then they teach you some things, and then you come across another person. So he didn't really, really mentor me directly. It was more so just that one time when we had a conversation, I just knew in the back of my head, whenever I get me some money, I'm going to start me a cleaning company.
Nah, that's extremely powerful. And you think about the fact, like you said, that he was the solopreneur, so he worked in the business. He didn't work on the business. Right. And I think that's one thing you do notice with like some of the people from the older generation. A lot of them, even till today, 67, they still working in the business. And you notice some of the counterparts. And obviously this isn't everybody, but it's interesting when you see those people that are retired, 60, 50, 70, they got multiple businesses, but the only thing they got to do is maybe pick up a call from Jill or Scott or Patrick every once in a while, gets the numbers, hey, keep it up, hang the phone up and go play some golf. And it's so, because that level of business thinking is either something that you want to be taught that as soon as possible, because if not, you can spend 25, 30, you can spend your entire lifetime working within the business and feel proud of yourself, like, oh yeah. And then when you talk to the other guys, you're like, oh snap, I'm supposed to have been, damn. But by then, time is gone. So, and I think in the country of America, especially, you see these CEO, these Fortune 500, Fortune 100, Fortune 1000, they understand that to a T. Cutthroat. Okay, hire this guy, delegate this. That's the operations managers. These are the SOPs. Even in the agency I'm running right now, to be honest, when I came into that, I really didn't understand that. I have a business partner who's 10 years older than me.
Right.
And he was involved with a company that was doing $9 million in the energy efficient sector till the Obama administration came in, and then that closed. So now I'm able to understand, okay, I got staff. I can delegate these responsibilities. Hey, go take the call with the client. Hey, you go take care of it. And it frees, because as the business owner, you want to be freed up to work on higher level activities,
right,
or on situations that's going to bring in more income or make your business more refined.
Right.
So I think it's dope that you pointed that out, and you were even able to understand that from a early age. So you said to yourself, like, yo, as soon as I get the money, I'm going to start my own, gig. I'm going to start my own business. So could you talk about, like, when you went to go get the, certification, the certification of enrollment, or like your actual EIN, or your actual authorization? Could you
Right.
talk about like those early moments?
You know what, man? It was so long ago. I think I was 19 when I did it, and I honestly don't have a clue, dog. I just was a fucking, like, you cuss up here, my bad.
Go ahead, man.
Okay, man. But I was obsessed, man. Like, because, like, for one, so my wife, and back then that was my girlfriend, but we've been together for I was just struggling trying to figure this life thing out, right? Wow. And so when we were 19, we got our first place, and we out there just trying to make it work, right? And so, we didn't have kids. I didn't have anything else to do other than go to work and come home and figure out, how am I going to get rich and get us out of this situation, right? I don't want to be in poverty. We had a nice apartment and all of that, but it was like, no, I want more out of life. So I think I used to always scour the internet, man. I just researched, okay, I literally went on Google, how to start a cleaning company. And then when I looked up, I think it was called WikiHow. And it said, okay, get your LLC. You can go to this place and do it. So I went to research and okay, bam. So I went to the State Corporation Commission, is what it's called in Virginia. And that's where you go to get your LLC. So I got that, and I went online to get that. And I was like, okay, so I got my LLC. Then I went and got my EIN number from IRS.gov. Got that. That was free. So I think the LLC was $100. The EIN number was free. And then it was like, okay, bam. So then they was like, you got to get your business license. So then I went down to the city hall, got my business license. I took those two documents down there to get my business license. And then they told me, oh, we got to do zoning and clearing. I'm like, what's zoning and clearing, right? So, but it really wasn't anything. All they did was like, just draw a picture of your apartment, show us where your office is going to be in your home, and then you good. And then so I paid a little extra $15 for that. So it was $15 for zoning and clearing, $50 for the actual business license. So for $165, I was in business when I opened up my business bank account, and that was pretty much it, right?
Awesome. And I think, that's probably the easiest part of starting a business.
Yeah.
Then you have the journey of getting clients, getting customers, getting consumers. So you have all of that. You got the zoning and planning, the business account. So what do you start doing from there? Are you talking to friends, families? Hey, look, I just started the cleaning business. Are you passing out flyers? Yeah.
So honestly, I try to leave this part out, because if I say this all the time, people will run off with this, and it's like, this is the worst thing you could do, but it was the best thing for me at that time. And so what I did was I bought a cleaning franchise, right? And so because that's what the guy Pops had that I learned from. So I'm copying what he did. He went with Janet King. I met with Janet King, I met with Coverall, and I met with Jan Pro. And out of the three, I was like, actually, I think Coverall is the best. So at that time, I went with Coverall. Bought my cleaning franchise from them.
And how much did you pay to get into a franchise agreement with them?
Yep, I think at the time I put $2,000 down, and the total cost of it was $10,000. So I put $2,000 down, made the rest of monthly payments, and then I think the $2,000 guaranteed me at least $1,000 a month in gross revenue. So they could get me $100 a month builders, or they can get me $1,000 a month bill. But however they gave it to me, that's how they could give it to me, right? And so they did give me one large one. I think it was like $1,500 a month. So for that extra $500 that was over $1,000, I had to pay them for that too. So that was rolled into my monthly payment. So you talking about making $1,500 a month minus the monthly payment for the franchise, minus the other monthly payment that I financed for the extra $500 that they gave me over the $1,000 that they promised me. What else? I'm paying royalties and management fees to them, because you were the franchise. You got to pay them the royalties and their management fee, because they do all of the invoices and all of that. So out of that $1,500, it was so long ago, I'm gonna take a wild guess, but out of the $1,500, I probably was making maybe $900 of it. And so
that's not bad,
right? It ain't bad at all. And again, I'm definitely guessing. This was so long ago, and I bought a second franchise after that. So, and I was cleaning myself back then. I was 100% green. I'm 19 years old, and I was a horrible cleaner the whole time. I mean, I tell you, horrible. Like, we were trash. So I would go in there, smear up all the windows. I had no idea. You know what I mean? Like, I'm dumping the trash. Right? I'm skipping some trash cans. I ain't looking everywhere. I'm rushing through. It's a big ass building, and it's like, I'm trying to get out of there. And back then, you know, I want to go to the parties afterwards. I want to go to the club afterwards. Back then I was trying to be a rapper, so I'm trying to get to the studio. Or my wife was in beauty school, so I'm trying to get out of there so I can go pick her up from high school at the time. We only had one car, right? So it was like, it was a lot going on. I was horrible. I eventually traded that account with another franchise owner for about maybe 5 other contracts for equal value, smaller ones, because I felt like, well, maybe it'd be easier for me if I had something smaller. I was tearing those up too. So eventually,
could you talk about like the because I feel like even in our community too as well, we're going to be seeing a lot more like franchise models starting to pop up. And that's even something that you could potentially do down the line, is having like a franchise. But so you sign this agreement. They're like, okay, we're going to get our royalties. We're doing this, that, and the third. We're going to. So how did it feel to you being within that franchise?
Like a job is what it feels like. And that's why I don't recommend people getting with the franchise, especially in the commercial cleaning industry. I mean, if you want to get a franchise or something else, that's up to you to feel that out and see if it's a good deal for you. For me, it wasn't right. And at the time it worked, I figured like once I messed up with Coverall the first time, I bought back in a few years later. I think I was probably maybe 22, 23, and I bought in with Jam Pro. So when I bought in with Jam Pro, that was like the turning point for me when I was more mature. Became the franchise owner of the year, hitting 6-figure level and all of that, right? But I still wasn't seeing the money that I was supposed to be seeing, because they take so many fees out of your check. So they're taking 20% for the combination of your insurance, your royalties, and your and management fee, right? Then they also taking an extra monthly payment to finance the franchise itself. And so it's like, when they take all of that out, you got 20% plus a monthly payment. Well, first of all, when you running a cleaning company, 50 to 60% is going to go to your employee overhead anyway. So you really only making 40%. You got 40% left over in gross profit. Well, if you got 40% left and they take another 20, you only left with 10 to 20%, depending on how they bid. Because they bid, and when I say bid, they create the price that you get paid from the cleaning contract. So most of the time they underbid because they're just trying to get the sale so they can give you your contract in time, because they guarantee you at a certain amount of time they're going to give you the contract, right? So if you only left with 20% after them taking everything, you don't have much of anything. So you might gross $100,000 a year, but after paying your employees, paying the franchise, paying all this stuff, you only making $20,000 a year out of the $100,000 a year that you grossing. So you're doing all that busy work, pouring all that mental energy, and then you making the salary of somebody that just came out of high school. Right, exactly. And it's like, it's one thing to make $20,000 a year out of $100,000 if the money's coming to your business bank account. That money doesn't even, you say you gross $100,000 on paper, but it's not passing through your account because they take their fees out before you even get it. So your check stub will say you make, $8,000, $8,500 a month. But when it actually goes to your bank account, minus the fees, well, you actually only get maybe $4,500 in that bank account, right? And so, but you're still getting taxed on the whole 85, but it never passed through your business bank account. So that's the difference. So if you just get rid of that middleman, Now you got the extra $20,000 a year. So now that goes from $20,000 to $40,000 that's passing through your business account. You can still pay yourself the $20,000 if you want to, but now your company gets to keep the other 20. You can put that into some type of stock and avoid. Well, I won't go into taxes and all that, but you can get creative with it versus them taking the money from you first. And so it's just so many. I recommend that people stay away from franchise, man. You lose your ownership.
You saying get your hands out of my honey pot? Get your hands out of my honey pot.
Absolutely.
And I feel you, man, because I think what it is that hey, look, and I think the way this world works is like you gotta go through those ups and downs to learn, and then there's people that got the knowledge and experience that are going to take advantage of people who don't got the knowledge and experience. And then you had those people that they're just going to eat off of other people. Like they have the structure, and they might even be like really only need to take like 5 to 10%, but because they're taking that much more, they're just profiting. They're just eating off of what you doing, off of the drive that you putting in.
And that's the key, man. Like, cause I'm not 100% against the franchising model. But you got to be careful about which franchise you choose. Most of the franchises in the commercial cleaning industry are not what you want to do. There might be, I think it's only one that I know of for a fact. Like, for example, with a franchise, even if you go out and find the customers on your own, with most of them, they still want a percentage of that. Even if it's like a 360 deal in the music industry. Everything you get, they want a piece of. But it is one out there, and I won't name them because they didn't pay me to name them. I mean, if somebody DM me and ask me which one it is, I'll tell you, but I still would tell you just go independent anyway. But they will let you, if you find it on your own, you can keep 100% of it. But anything through them, then they got to take a percentage. To me, that's fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not against all franchises, but you really got to make sure that it's the right one. And most of them are not the right one and I try to watch what I say about it because I understand too. I'm teaching people that build these independent cleaning companies, and at some point, they might want to create a franchise. So it's like, I don't want to bash all franchises, but just be very careful if you're going to go that route. Make sure that it makes sense for you financially.
Yeah, and, I think the thing is that, how you were talking about you had to go through those ups and downs when you first started. Right. People don't want to do that. They just want somebody to kind of catapult them up. They just want that strong hand to come in. And, a lot of times you talk, when I'm dealing with clients or people that want to pay for services, it's not that they don't have the drive or they just want to avoid some of the headache. Some of them, they need that extra push, behind them, somebody to push them and be like, oh, okay, all right, and the franchise, it kind of seems like, hey, look, we're going to be big brother. We got you. Come over here. We're going to supply you with all your needs. Don't worry. We ain't been in here for years. But it's like you, and I think it's the way I would almost see it is you're training yourself. It's business training. You start understanding how to deal with invoices, how to deal with clients, systems, processes, marketing. Because I think once you get into a system like that, you then got to be like, all right, do I have enough desire, enough drive, enough smarts to say I can want more and do better than this? Or is the systems and structure that they put me in going to forever keep me within their world, within their structure? And some people like that. Some people like, I don't all that other stuff. I'm doing my little thing right here. Don't talk to me about stuff. And, it's interesting when you see it. But when is it that you started being like, all right, I'm gonna have to cut off, and kind of step on my own? What was that like for you?
That was a great question. So what happened for me was when I told you I bought in again with Jam Pro the second time around. I'm doing these 6 figures. I'm franchise owner of the year. And so at some point they asked me, hey, would you like to be a franchise consultant or AKA operations manager, right? And so they moved me down to Florida. I become the operations manager. I'm originally from Virginia. So my franchise, my cleaning company is running on its own. I created the systems. It's in place. I'll leave it in Virginia. It's running. I moved down to Florida to go be the operations manager. I'm teaching new franchise owners how to work there, right? But what happened was once I got on the other side, I kind of was already having these sentiments anyway about maybe I've outgrown this model. But once I got on the other side of the coin and saw that the interest of the master franchise is completely separate from the interest of the unit franchise owners, which were the small guys like me at the time, it's completely opposite. They make more money, the franchises make more money off the actual franchise owner, the unit franchise owner, than they do from the actual customer. And that was an issue for me, because it's like, okay, think about it. If they charging the customers, because they do all the billing and invoicing, you don't even know how to send an invoice as a unit franchise. You don't learn anything with them. They don't even show you how to price, because they don't want you to know how, because if you learn how to price, then you won't need them anymore, right? So they don't show you how to sell, price, invoice, any of that stuff. You just get everything from them so they can keep charging you for everything that they're doing for you. But anyway, so if I got on the other side of the coin and worked directly for JanPro as an employee, it woke me up, and I'm like, wait a minute. They make $4,000 for off to the franchise owner if they give them $1,000 a month account. Versus that $1,000 a month account, if they charge the customer $1,000 a month, they only get $150 out of that, 15%, right? Or sometimes maybe $200 if they charge 20%. All depends on where you are, right, and what their percentages are. And so I'm like, damn. If it's my company, would I rather make the $4,000 or would I rather make the $250? The $4,000 sound better to me, right? So what they do is they'll put you in a contract, let you clean it, knowing damn well you're under trained, because they didn't even have hands-on training where I was, and neither one of the places that I worked, right? And so they put you in there. You really don't know how to clean. You go in there, you clean it for maybe up to 6 months. You just surviving. After a while, the customer says, "Hey, we tired of this. Y'all suck at cleaning. We don't want this. We don't want to be with you anymore." Then the franchise comes in and says, "Help! Wait a minute. Don't forget, we franchises. We have other franchise owners, so we can take this guy out of here and give you another one." So they take you out. You still owe that $4,000 in debt to them. Some places they'll erase it. Some places they won't. So you, as that franchise owner that they just removed from that contract, still owe the $4,000. They take and sell that same $1,000 a month contract to another franchise owner, get another $4,000 from them, and this same problem account that now the customer's already pissed because this other guy wasn't even doing the job. Now you send me this next new person. They suck too, and now they're cleaning. So now this person already walked into a bad situation with the customer that's already disgruntled, and they walking there trying to save it. So eventually they probably going to lose it too. Then guess what? If the franchise can, they'll sell it again to a third person. Or the customer will just leave the whole company altogether. Now both of these people asked out and owe debt to a franchise that was never in their interest in the first place. So that's what, again, like, I wouldn't recommend it, but that's the reason too why I started my new company, Clean Biz Network, is because I wanted to help people go independent and create their own and not have to learn. Like, if you got to learn to be an entrepreneur anyway, why not learn independent from the beginning? You're going to have to learn it anyway. Why not get a head start? What makes you think you got to go through some middleman and get your feet wet? No, jump in there. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. When you get in the pool, when you keep tiptoeing in, what's it going to say? You're going to say it's too cold, it's too cold, it's too cold. Versus if you just jump in, shit, you warm up a lot faster, right? So
that's right. You
know what I mean? So why not skip the middleman and just go all in? And that's why I created my new company, Clean Biz Network, to help people do that.
Yeah, and I love the fact that your presence is also very heavy on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the energy, time, and years that you put into YouTube, I feel like, whenever anybody gets the notion of clean business, and YouTube is the second most searched search engine in the world. Yep. So already you probably have leads coming into you naturally every single day that are just coming in from either YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, if you have ads running or anything like that. And I love the fact that you said when you went to the other side and you saw like the main operations from the top level, you were like, man, they doing people dirty.
Yeah.
And then you decided, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this energy. This is not my motto. This is not how I operate. This is not what I want to be known for. And you started Clean Biz Network.
Yep.
So the Clean Biz Network, is that also a part of your own commercial cleaning? Like, so Clean Biz Network does commercial cleaning, but then you kind of grew it because you just have so much knowledge and understanding of this arena, of this field, that you were able to involve like how to start your own commercial cleaning, the leads, the Clean Biz, I think it was calculator, because one of the things is that when people go into business, they have an endless amount of questions.
Right.
How do I do this? How do I do that? What about this situation? And it's like, you have to be able to answer it. So it's almost like, I love the network, because a network implies, you know, different media, you know, different connections, you know, different databases, different libraries for access. So when you left the Jam Pro, you know, when you left their operations and you were on your own, how was that initial transition?
Boy, man, it was rough. It was very rough. So when I left, right, and I'm gonna try to see if I can get as many details in without taking too long and remembering all my points, right? But so when I left, first of all, understand I didn't have like a nest egg, right? I was like, my company was running without me in Virginia. I still had that company when I left. But then it was like, you know what? I got to sell the company because I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people go independent. Well, guess what, AJ? You can't help people go independent if you still a franchise owner yourself, number one, and while you're still working for them. So I had to quit the job, and I quit for moral reasons only. And I needed it. That was the best damn job I ever had. Like, all I did was ride around checking accounts, training franchise owners, which was fun for me, right? So it was a good-ass job. They paid me well, but just for moral reasons, I was like, I can't do it. So I quit it, and I'm damn near broke pretty much, because the only money I have coming in is from my franchise that's up in Virginia. But again, I just broke down the math for you how you can make $100,000 but only be making $20,000 a year, right? So I'm living in this uppity neighborhood because I had a good paying job that could afford it. But I just left the job, right? So my bills are a little high. I have maybe $1,000 a month coming in from my franchise up in Virginia. I got maybe $500 coming in a month from YouTube. I got maybe another $400 coming in from my one rental property that I got. And then every now and then I might get a little sale online from like the ebook I had, right? So I was basically struggling, but I still was like, nah, I'm not going to sell out and do my people like that. So what ended up happening was I came up with an agreement to sell my franchise to my brother, who was basically my general manager at the time, running it for me in Virginia. And I was like, you know what?
Like your blood brother?
My blood brother. Yep.
Okay.
He had just came home from prison, so it was perfect for him. You know what I mean? To go ahead and just get in this program. So I ended up doing a seller financing deal with him. He made monthly payments because he didn't have no lump sum of money to pay me off, right? So I'm still getting a little bit of money from the monthly payments he's making. It's less than what I was making when the company was mine, but it was something. So then I said, you know what? I'm ready to go all in on helping people start and grow independent. I just got to figure out how to do it. So I was like, okay, well, what do people need the most, more than anything else? And so it was like, the number one question is, how do I get customers? So I did some research, figured out, you know, what do I need to do to provide them with customers? Okay, well, I can get them leads, okay? So I figured out how to hire some cold callers. They start setting appointments. And so we just tried it out on a few different people. And it worked. And it was like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, shit, I got something here. So I made $500 selling, $100 appointments to go out and find your customers, right? And I was okay, bam. What else do people need? So I started that. That's one part of the business. And then I did actually start my cleaning business starter kits. I was selling those already when I was still with Jam Pro. That was another thing that they had against me. Like, they really wanted me to stop those and come back and work for them. I'm not giving up my starter kits to come back and work for y'all, because if you want me to do that, that must mean they're valuable. So
exactly,
I had those coming in, and I just made them better. I created a course to go with it, and it wasn't just the equipment anymore. It was like, okay, I'm going to add a course to it. I'm going to show you how to get the customer, blah, blah. We're going to put some leads with it, right? And so then I came up with the calculator, because the other most popular question is, okay, well, how much do I charge a customer? So I came up with this app, mobile app, and it was a mobile calculator.
Hold on. This is why we have this right here, man.
Okay.
Because you say you came up with the mobile app.
Yep. So, and I did my research to figure out how to do that, because at first the app was online only, right? It was a website. But then it hit me, AJ, people on the phone, you're going to have to make it a mobile app, otherwise people won't use it. And so I created the mobile app, and I just kind of pieced it all together. And next thing you know, I was like, you know what, AJ, you got all of these different income sources. You got lead generation service, you got an app, you got a starter kit, you got, YouTube money coming in. So I was like, wait a minute. Why not create it in one company, put them all under one house, and you'll have multiple sources of income, but they multiple streams under one company. And just simply housing them all under one company made it all make sense for me. and because it got me organized. You know what I mean? And so then from that point on, it just went into Clean Biz Network. But by the way, I just remember, so one of the points I have to make sure I answer all your questions was the cleaning services that we offer at Clean Biz Network. So remember, my cleaning company was a franchise.
That's right.
I couldn't do Clean Biz Network and be with a franchise. So I sold my company, remember? And so I sold it because it was a franchise. That was the only reason I sold it. Otherwise, we would have expanded. And by the way, when I quit the job that I had in Florida here, I had a non-compete agreement for 2 years that I couldn't offer any type of commercial cleaning service or work for any other commercial cleaning company. So it was like, fuck. You know what I mean? What am I going to do when the only thing I know how to do is clean? That's what I've been doing since I was 19, right? From a business standpoint. So it was like, I didn't know what to do, but then it hit me. Well, they can't touch my online stuff, right? They can't do nothing about that. So that's what forced me into selling my cleaning company because it's a franchise, and then not starting another one here because I had a non-compete. And so I just went all in on Clean Biz Network. So after the 2 years passed, I did dip my toe in and think about starting another cleaning company. But honestly, this thing is going so great for me, and I'm helping so many people. I think I just found my lane. You know what I mean? With the providing leads to help people find customers, having starter kits to help people start their company, having a mobile app to help people know how to price their job and create proposals and all of that stuff on it. And so this is my lane to doing the YouTube videos, to even that way I can give away free information too, right? So maybe you can't afford to buy my starter kit. Maybe you can't afford to get the course, right? Fine. Hundreds of videos on YouTube for free. Ask me whatever you want, right? Because that's how I learned, right? I didn't have money to buy anybody's system. I just was watching 1,000 YouTube videos a day, Googling all night long, right? And so eventually I pieced it together. But for those who are in a position to invest, they want to speed up their journey, bam, I got this structured information just for you too. So we all can win.
Got you. Very, very important stuff. One of the things that I wanted to touch on and kind of rewind back a little bit was you talking about how you kind of built out systems and processes, for the initial. Could you talk about the importance of the systems and processes?
Man, if you got more?
Go ahead.
Okay, because I would say, man, because if you don't have the systems in place, you don't have a business. You have a job. And the worst thing you can do is quit a job as a W-2 employee for a company and then go into being self-employed for yourself. Reason why is because, number one, self-employed people are taxed higher than regular W-2 employees, and most people don't know that. Because of self-employment tax. Number two, all right, should I go into detail on that? Or
Please do.
Okay, so when you would, as a W-2 employee, you pay your half of your, FICA and Social Security, and then you got your income tax. Well, when you go self-employment taxes, you pay the whole thing. See, when you employee, the company pays half of it. That's called payroll tax for them. For you, it's called just regular, your regular taxes, right? But see, when you're self-employment, you got self-employment tax, so you pay the whole 15.3%. Versus when you was an employee for somebody else, you paid half of that. So, number one, you're taxed higher when you go to self-employment, right? So don't do that. Create a system from day one. Now, what are systems? Systems either going to be employees or they're going to be software. It's things that you put into place to replace you from having to do it, right? So, for example, I own a lead generation service, and what we do is we have cold callers in place who call around in different cities asking, hey, can we offer you a free quote for cleaning service? If they say yes, we schedule the appointment and we send it to our customers. In order for this system that I have to work, and in order for us to set an appointment, I'm not calling anybody, right? I hire somebody else to call for it, right? I'm not emailing anybody, and neither of my workers emailing anybody their appointment. We plug their name into a software that we have, and the software recognizes the name and kicks out the email to the customer for us, right? So that's a system. You put software in place and people in place to save you time and then also save you from having to do these lower level jobs. And I don't say that as an insult. I mean, when you're a CEO, you're not a cashier, right? When you're a CEO, you don't do $10. Like I seen a post not too long ago on Instagram that said, if you're tired of making $10 an hour, stop doing $10 an hour jobs, right? So when you're the CEO and you're the boss, you don't do those lower level tasks. You systemize those tasks. Now for the bigger things, you do those things, but for those lower level tasks, the things that you can hire anybody to do, those are the things that you hire somebody else to do. But if it's things that only you can do, then you do it. And this is the mistake that a lot of cleaning companies make is they'll clean a house, right? And it typically happens in houses more than buildings. That's why I'm using houses as an example. But they'll be cleaning a house, and they're doing a great job. And then the customer says, oh, my God, I don't know what I'm going to do if you ever leave us. Please don't ever leave us. I love you so much. Like, nobody cleans the house the way that you do. So then they get in their mind, I can't hire somebody for this house because the customer said they'll leave me if they do. They love me so much. I can't let them down. I know nobody can clean this house the way I do. But that's a lie, okay? That is an egotistical lie if you think that somebody can't clean the way you clean. And guess what? Even if they can, just get them up to a C plus B level. If they can get to a C plus B level, good enough to keep the customer quiet, that's all you need. Because your job is to grow the business. Your job is not to make sure that every single job is clean to perfection every single time. All businesses will have mistakes. That's part of growth if you're going to scale up. But if you want every single house to be clean to perfection every time, you can clean it yourself, but just understand you're never going to get past that whatever plateau, whether it's $5,000 a month, $6,000 a month, but you're going to plateau somewhere around that level there. You can't grow into a large company trying to do every single thing yourself. That's why systems are so important.
There you go. And, it's interesting because you basically nailed it on the head. You said, look, as a CEO, you can't be focusing on, doing $10 an hour jobs, sending little, emails back and forth. And there's so much software out now that automates so many different things. You have people that will sit down and be like, all right, let me create a software for cleaning businesses. Let me create softwares for janitorial. Car wash. You know what? And they will literally program, like, what are all the things this business needs so that this software can handle it. And at the end of the day, the time is so important because you never get that back. And there's so many the automations like Zapier, IFTTT, you have like Active Campaign, Calendly, there's all these little softwares and configurations that you can put together. Man, using VAs, virtual assistants, and my agency, the VA Emmy, thank God for her, man, because we, like you said, the 10-hour jobs, we just pass that on to her. I put together a Google Sheet, step one, take some screenshots, put some videos in it too as well. This is what I need. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But eventually it should get to a point whereby you can do this all on your own without needing to come to me. And all these things. So now it's like going into business, I feel like, man, you should just go find like the most successful mentor, like person, and just learn from them. Because imagine if you can kind of cut through all of the ups and downs and make mistakes, but just make the mistakes on like a bigger level. That's going to help, because at the end of the day, look, Elon Musk is blowing up spaceships, in the air, trying to like get them land, but he learning, that's a different kind of level of making mistakes when it comes to business. Now, when you were building, the Clean Biz Network, what were some mistakes that you wish you could go back in time and be like, I would do that differently?
Yeah. Honestly, I won't say I wish I could go back in time, because most of the time when I recognize it, I'll fix it, right? But I can give you an example. Like, for example, with my lead generation service, one of the things I did was when we first started getting the appointments, right? My caller would call, get the appointment, and I'm trying to systemize it, right? That was my thing, systemize it. I shouldn't touch anything. I shouldn't have to do anything. So she'd get the appointment, set it, and she would plug the name into the software, and the software would send it over to the client directly. Well, the problem with that was these appointment setters are working on commission, right? Well, actually, they had an hourly rate plus a commission, but they had an incentive to get more appointments. Mm-hmm. So over time, I realized, wait a minute, some of these appointments they sending over is bogus. They just want the, they just want the commission.
Whoa.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was I had to hire a third party person to confirm every appointment that was come through. So now this person is checking behind this person, and they would kick it back before it even goes out to the customer. Then, in addition to that, we said, hey, you know what? And actually, I got to give Bill, shout out to Bill, my case manager on this. She was like, you know what, AJ, we should record all the calls too. That way, we can send a recording to our customers. They know that if they get to the appointment for any reason and it's bad, at least they know it's not our fault, right? Because they can hear the recording. So now we get the recording in place, right? But the mistake was not checking behind them, knowing that they're working on an incentive base, right? Another mistake I made was when I created my app, right? It was a calculator. It had a proposal generator, walkthrough feature, all type of stuff is in that app, right? But when I first put it out, you know what, actually, I'm thinking more about it. It wasn't a mistake. It was actually a good idea. But I didn't charge for it initially. I gave it away for free for a whole year. Year later, I put a charge on it, and I'm getting complaints. I'm getting 1-star reviews. It used to be free. Now it's not. And I'm like, what? How could you give me a 1-star review? Not because it's bad as a service or as a product, but because I'm charging you for it. And it's like, don't you charge for your service, right? Like, why are you mad? If anything, you should be thanking me for the 1 year free that I just gave you, right? It's value there. Obviously, it's value. That's why you want it. But you gave me. So anyway, I don't think it was a mistake for me to give it away for free first, because it definitely it proved that I had a proof of concept. You know, it proved that it was of value. It proved that I could charge for it. And a lot of people, you know, man, I got, you know, hundreds of subscribers now because of it. But it was just like, maybe I should have found a different way to roll it out versus just giving away and then making people feel entitled to it. But those are the two things I can think of off the top of the mistakes that I made with Clean Biz Network.
And now that, you know, I feel like especially, you know, people of color are attracted to you, obviously, you know, being black, being a brother yourself, and then, you know, them seeing that you're successful in what you're doing. And I feel like one thing people can notice is that, man, you coming with the content, man. Like, you don't stop. You're in people's faces. It's genuine. There's warmth. There's comfort. There's compassion. It's authentic. It don't feel like, oh, let me snag a quick dollar real quick from these people.
Right.
It feel like, yo, I'm here with you.
Right.
We going through this together. What are some of the characteristics of the successful, you know, individuals that take your information, your courses, the starter kit, you know, the leads, and actually build a business? What are some of those successful characteristics? And then we're just going to talk about the unsuccessful ones after.
Yeah, man. You know, that's an excellent question again. Well, one of the things I do on purpose is, so in the beginning, right, when I first started selling starter kits and products right online, I always tried to make everything cheap, because I was always thinking about, well, when I was broke, I needed it to be affordable, right? Over time, I realized I could give it away for free. And if the person didn't have these things in them that, like you asked me about, they would not execute on it and be successful. So that's trait number one, that you actually going to execute it. Really, that's all it comes down to. But the thing that I did, though, to make sure that I was only attracting those type of people anyway, I started making premium products. So instead of, you know, doing a $97 starter kit download program or package with all the forms, right? Instead, I said, no, you know what? I'm going to put the fucking equipment with it. I'm going to do a whole course, not no fucking downloads. It's going to be an actual course with a curriculum. I'm going to put leads with it. I'm going to put this calculator, even though the calculator is, $29 a month if you want access to the calculator and all that. I'm going to give you a year free of that, so that way you won't have no monthly overhead to Clean Biz Network. You might have some monthly bills somewhere else, but you ain't going to have that to us for your first year. I want you to grow, right? So I'm going to package all this shit together, and it's going to sell for $1,000. And if you want 10 leads or more leads with it, it can go up to $2,000, right? But I want your big ticket because, number one, if you're willing to invest $1,000 or $2,000, okay, you probably serious. So that's the first thing I did, was try to weed out the people that just want to give away, right? The next thing I did was, now when I'm created a course and not just digital downloads, the course will show me if you've been through the actual course or not. So let's say this person went through 50%, this person went through 1%, this person, I mean, like, some people will buy it and never even open the course and it's like, what the fuck? But anyway, so, but the ones that actually go through it and do at least 75% or more of the course are the ones that usually are successful. And then obviously the ones that execute on the information. So that's really what it comes down to. If you're gonna be a go-getter and actually do this stuff, and that's what separated. Like the ones that are successful in my group and the ones that's not, is simply the ones. And that's why too. For the most part, if you look around, I don't have any negative reviews or any scams associated with my name, is because even the ones that don't perform and go execute can tell you, no, the information's there. I just ain't do it. They know for a fact. You know what I mean? Everything is there for you to succeed. It's just if you're gonna go do it or not.
Do you have like an element, because one thing I've started realizing working with a lot of like coaches and entrepreneurs and, you know, helping them sell their courses and their programs and Facebook ads and all kinds of stuff. Do you have like the more complicated a business is, usually the more people want some kind of support, either like a weekly Zoom call element or like a private Facebook group or, you know, some kind of support, you know. What kind of elements of that do you have, you know, bundled with your course and, you know, with the downloads and, you know, the material you're giving them?
Absolutely. That's a great question again. So I literally just switched over from, so what I used to do was when they join in, they get access to the private Facebook group too, right? And so it was like, whenever you got a question, tag me. And I'm going to reply either A, with a comment right on your post, or B, I'll make a video live in the group right then and answer your question, right? After doing that for about 3 years, I got a little tiresome.
Woof.
Yeah,
I can see that.
What we just started doing, and actually everybody loves this better, is now every Friday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time, we do a live Zoom call. And so you bring all your questions there every single Friday.
There we go.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
There you go.
Well, we do that every Friday, man, and I'm always on there to answer any questions. And then also the good thing about us, too, because I understand some people still have their day job. They're going their business on the side. They can't get there at 12 o'clock noon on Friday, right? So what I also do is once we run out of questions on the live call, nobody else has the questions, I'll go to the group. The Facebook group is still there. I share my screen, and I scroll through every single question in that motherfucker and answer them there. So even if I can't get them directly on a Zoom call because they're busy, I'll just answer you. Leave your question in the group. I get to it there, and you'll see it when I upload the replay.
You know, that's key right there. And I love that, because the content or course creator is putting that extra effort, that initiative to surround and wrap the course members with that support that they need. And it gives people that confidence to see, let me pay for this. Okay, this is what I need. And one of my business partners, what I did with his thing, every week he goes live. This is his entire course. Every week he goes live for about maybe 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
And for about an hour or so. All he does is that one of the times during the week he would teach like something like a class. Mm-hmm. And the other 2 times are going to be like more like Q&As and things of that nature. But he takes that recorded content and uploads it into the content platform. Right. So now you have a whole library full of Q&As. Yep. You have a library full of the classes that he's teaching. Plus, as a new member, you can eat through all of that, but then you still get the text messages telling you to come on to the weekly live Zoom calls. So you're saran wrapped in support. Right. So there is no excuse to be like, man, I ain't understand it, you know, this, that, and the third, and they let me out in the cold, man. And that membership is like $60 a month, but there's close to 300 people in it. That's so huge. It's monthly reoccurring. But the thing about the power behind the reoccurring is that people are always going to be having questions. Right. So it's exciting to see that. Now, what about the unsuccessful traits that you noticed? What were like some of the traits that like, man, they ain't going to work for him?
Yeah, man. So again, they don't even open the course. They don't execute on the information. And another thing I noticed too is this. So when they request, because after they buy the kit, then they'll get sent to a thank you page, and the thank you page has the directions on how to get into your course. And then inside the course, it'll tell you how to get into the Facebook group. Well, once they request to get into the Facebook group, I or my wife, but it was usually me for the most part, I'll have to add them as a friend before I accept them, because I want to make sure I can tag them, right? Well, when I add them as a friend, I can see what they're posting, right? So I noticed the people who are trendy, they follow trends, they participate in all of the celebrity gossip and posting all this crazy stuff on their personal private profile or whatever, usually unsuccessful. The ones that either don't post at all or they're only posting like entrepreneurial, motivational stuff, those are the successful ones because they locked in. And you really have to be locked in. You can't think that you're gonna be in with everything. Like it's really even as detailed and as simple as what you wear. Like if you up there, you trying to hound the newest drip and all that type of stuff, you probably ain't gonna make it because it's gonna take a lot of sacrifice and dedication and reinvesting in your business to grow it. But you see, if you a regular person, you got on your plain tee, and especially if you got your company logo on there, why wouldn't you wear that every day? That's free promotion, right? So it's like,
exactly.
But if you up here trying to be the flyest person every day, and again, if that's your style, that's your style. Maybe you can pull it off and grow. I couldn't have any distractions. I wore the same thing every single day I woke up to build my cleaning company, right? Then I do the same thing now. I wear my jogging pants, my damn CBN shirt. I throw my hat over my hat so I don't have to worry about how it looks. And I'm going, you know what I mean, to the office and I'm locked in trying to grow my business. That's it. So you really got to be locked in. And the ones that are not successful, they're just simply not locked in. They thought that they was going to buy into something. Even though I'm on YouTube every day and telling you that you're going to have to put in the work. But for some reason, they thought that my system, they won't buy into my system, get a magic pill, and magically change their life. And that just doesn't exist. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to work. But I'm going to make it as easy for you. You ain't going to have to scour YouTube and Google for hours like I did. You ain't going to have to clean for 3 years straight and be ass at cleaning and then realize, oh, damn, I'm supposed to hire people and create systems. Right? You ain't going to have to get complaints because you don't know how to clean. You might still get complaints because some people just can't be pleased. But the point is, you're gonna have a lot less struggles than I did because I'm giving you the blueprint. But you still gonna have to put that work in, and you only gonna be successful if you do. You got to execute on that information.
Powerful. And it's almost like you thinking about your parents too. That's the same kind of like, okay, we struggled on this level to give you the blueprint so you can struggle on levels much more higher.
Bam.
And it's interesting to see how has entrepreneurship changed your mindset about life, because sometimes one thing I notice about entrepreneurship is that it changes people's perspective, because you got to become a different type of person to not only maintain but grow a business. So how has it changed your perspective on life?
Man, it's one word: accountability. Accountability, man. You stop being a victim and you start taking charge. When you realize that every single thing that happens in your life is a direct reaction to what you did, that's when shit get powerful, right? So as an entrepreneur, you got to realize, damn, if we get a complaint, it's my fault. If the business don't sell, sales go low, it's my fault. If the YouTube video stop getting views, it's my fault. It's always, what did I do wrong for this shit not to work? Versus the government. Oh, the presidency, I ain't got money now because it's Trump in office, or because Biden in office, or because whoever in office. Like, stop blaming everybody outside yourself. Everything in your life is your responsibility. And that's what really changed for me when I became an entrepreneur. I heard, and understand this for sure, I obsessed over motivational content over YouTube. When I was out there in the buildings cleaning, I paid the $10 a month on YouTube. It used to be called YouTube Red when I got it called, I think, Premium now. But I paid the $10 a month so I could hear no commercials and listen to it the whole time I'm cleaning. Oprah in my ear. You are in charge of your life. Nobody's coming to save you, right? And so that's the mindset that I had to adopt and adopt to be successful as an entrepreneur. And most people, the masses, just simply don't ever get that. They want to be victims. Well, I was born in the hood. I can't make it. I was born in the hood too. You know what I mean? But I knew I could make it because I saw Jay-Z do it. I saw Diddy do it. I saw 50 Cent do it. I saw, you know what I mean, other non-celebrities too, right? There's other guys that I just can't think of the names because they're not as popular, right? But there's plenty of people that have done it. And shit, I've seen people come from where I'm from. That's when they really hit home, right? With LaShawn Merritt, track runner. Seen him do it. It's like, wait a minute. You can make it out of here if you just focus and apply yourself.
Talk about it, man.
And I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought at first that's bullshit, but I'm gonna try to see what's the worst that could happen. I'm already struggled for the first 5 years of my adult life. Why not go ahead and try it and see if this stuff works? Trying it, seeing little small improvements. Next thing you know, like, oh shit, this stuff works. Law of attraction works. Oh shit, if I put in the work, it works. Oh, if I don't go to the club and I stay home and study tonight, it works. Oh, you know what I mean? So it's just like you really start to realize everything in your life is your fault. If you live in the hood, right. Who applied for that apartment you live in? You did. Why you ain't apply for the bigger house? I didn't have the money. Why don't you have the money? Because I work at this shitty ass job. Well, why do you work at the shitty ass job you applied for? Why don't you stop applying? I heard a friend of mine, Katrina Johnson, she runs Tenacity Academy, she's also a cleaning company, and she helps people start cleaning companies too. But she came up under me, and I'm just happy for her. She flourished. But anyway, she said one time, the difference between cleaners, people just clean and work for cleaning companies, and the actual person that started a cleaning company is the cleaner is looking for a job application for cleaning, and the person that owns the cleaning company is looking for contracts for cleaning. Stop looking for applications and start looking for contracts. And it's just a mindset thing. You are literally in charge of this shit. So start thinking bigger and doing bigger. It's simple as that.
Wow. Oh, man. Powerful stuff, man. Very, very powerful. And it's fascinating. What do you think are the, because I was talking about my experience with the hatrimonies and commercial versus residential.
Yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on those two buckets? Yeah.
So commercial, understand that. So residential does have more profit margin. Like, for example, in residential, I used to charge $45 an hour, and you can pay your person $15 an hour, and you walk away with all of that profit after the, versus in commercial, you had to go down to like $25 an hour, and you still trying to pay the person maybe $12, $15 an hour. So a smaller profit margin, but the checks are bigger, and the route, like for example, so if you clean in a house, and they paying you $500 a month to go out there bi-weekly, versus if you get a contract that pays you $2,000 a month and they paying you to go out there 5 days a week, I can provide a better job for my worker if he has a 5-day-a-week account versus trying to get 20 houses to lump together to create a full-time schedule for my worker over here, because that's 20 different customers you're trying to manage. That's a lot. Versus over here, give me $2,000 a month contracts. I ain't dealing with 5 people. It's a lot less to deal with. There's more consistent because they're going to the same job every day. They got a janitor's closet. I can leave the equipment there. There's a lot less variables with the commercial cleaning versus the houses. You know what I mean? And then there's also, it's not that personal space. So your point of contact at some builders, they might not even give a fuck. Oh, y'all, they showed up. I don't care. Versus somebody's house, oh no, they want it done. You know what I mean? They want it done. This is their house. So, me personally, I prefer the commercial. I try residential. I just want for it. And I never like to hire people to do something that I don't even want to do myself. I was not trying to climb nobody tubs and stuff, be in there scrubbing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I ain't trying to do it, I ain't going to try to hire nobody else to do it.
Woo. Powerful, man. And I think, these are the insights after years and years, of dealing with situations and seeing how, situations unfold, because in the next, it's still exploding at an extremely fast rate. They say Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, according to Forbes. You're seeing them, e-commerce, clothing, online businesses, physical businesses, brick and mortar. You're seeing Black men too as well, getting into different credit repair, different, aspects of the business, like, e-commerce, online clothing lines, So where do you see your cleaning biz, network kind of being involved with that?
Yeah, man. I have no idea. I think about it though. You know what I mean? I think about it though, because one thing I realized is this. There's people, at first I thought I was the first person ever to be out here helping people start independent cleaning companies, right? Over time I realized I'm not the first. I was the most popular, The Hachimon is trying to catch me because they got me on IG, but YouTube is way bigger. But anyway, I'm probably the most popular, but I'm not the first. There's older white guys who've been doing this for years.
Yeah,
Mike
Champion.
You know what I mean? And shout out to the Janitorial Store. That's one. What's another guy? I bought him on my channel for an interview. That's why I want to shout him out. He's a good dude. John Selko. He's another one. Been doing this stuff for years, man, since I was a baby. So I'm not the first. So that does let me know that there will be a space for this, probably for as long as I can think. But yeah, man. And then I understand this too. It's always going to be somebody that's trying to start a company. And the cleaning industry is one of the best industries to start with because you got the low investment costs with the extremely high upside. Like the amount of money you can make is infinite, right? So, and this is a real business. This ain't no MLM shit, right? So it's like you can literally build it as big as you want to build it. So I think the main thing is that I probably eventually will get out the lead generation space. I've been wanting to get out of it for I don't know how long, but the people want it so bad, so I keep it. But I really want to get out of it because I hear so many horror stories about the, I forgot, it's like the FCC. If somebody will fine you for cold calling and doing all the telemarketing and stuff. So I haven't gotten hit with a fine yet, but I'm nervous about that. And then also, that's the most headache part of my business. You know what I mean? I got like 20-something employees working for that. And if I get rid of that, I probably only need maybe 1 or 2 workers. You know what I mean? And I probably have a big profit margin too. But again, for the people, y'all want it, I'm going to keep it as long as they want it. If I ever get so many complaints on that and they say, oh, we don't like it, leave it, trash or something like that, fuck it, take it back. I don't want it anyway, right? But long-term thinking, though, definitely the app. The app is my bread and butter. Starter kits will always be around. They kind of get on my nerves, too, because I'm shipping equipment, and, you know, things can go wrong when you're shipping equipment. For the most part, I think maybe 90% of my stuff always deliver on time and together. But every now and then you get those ones where it's like their stuff arrived fucked up and then I got to replace it.
Give me all my money back. What kind of company is this? I'm missing a toothbrush over here. I mean? I'm going to sue the entire company from bottom to top.
You know it, though. You know that's how it goes. And it's like, come on, man. Yep. We made one mistake and it won't even us. It was the carrier. But you mad at me because somebody dropped the damn box on the way. Like, come on, we replaced it.
It's chipped right here, a little bit in the corner. You know what? I'm going to the BBB Better Bureau. I'm about to bureau you up, down, DEA, FBI, all the alphabets. It's like, come on, man.
I'm telling you, man. So, but at least for the next foreseeable future, I'll be here in this line of business for as long as people need me. But in the meantime, I'm buying up real estate and saving up for a rainy day for passive income. But anyway, but one thing for sure, I'm going to always do YouTube. I'm always going to share my knowledge and share whatever I can to try to help out, though.
Nah, that's powerful. You know, as we begin to wrap up, you know, we definitely appreciate you big time. Coming out and dropping gems. And then even you just said something now that was like really, you said, you know, you're investing in real estate and passive stocks or something like that. So could you, because I feel like that's one thing a lot of business owners, and even I'm starting to understand, is like, nah, you got to diversify. You got to make sure like you put your money into situations whereby the money can work harder for you to go get more money. So could you talk about like your mentality towards that and kind of like some of the real estate or stocks or the other like practices you're doing?
Yeah. So I love to give credit if I got it from somebody else. I can't remember who told me this. I think it was either Grant Cardone or Robert Kiyosaki, but I'm pretty sure it was Grant. When it comes to passive income such as real estate, and when I say real estate, I'm talking about buy and hold. I'm not talking about flipping. But when it comes to like rental properties, and that's what I mean when I say buy and hold, I'm talking about rental properties. When it comes to that, and then when it comes to stocks, that passive income stuff, and diversification in general, diversification, in my opinion, is for preserving wealth. Starting a business and building a business is for building wealth, because that's the fastest thing that can get you there. You can put, $3,000 into a company and turn it into $100,000 within a year. You can't put $1,000 into no stocks and turn it into $100,000 unless you just got lucky as fuck. But that's not exactly. You know what I mean? But you can't duplicate that. You can't go do that again. If you could do that again, you'd be a billionaire by the end of the year. You know what I mean? So it's like business is that's my philosophy on it. Build your business first and focus on that. Put everything you got into building your business. Once you get it to make you so much money where you got extra, now you start investing in stocks. Now you start buying you some rental properties that's going to keep you great forever. You know what I mean? You pass it on to the family. But in the beginning, I wouldn't even worry about any of that. Get you a business that you can start at a low cost, that has a high upside, and build that, and then get into that passive income stuff.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah. All right. Now, this has been an awesome interview, man. And the motivation and determination that you have to like keep on trucking and keep on pushing is crazy. And I remember, man, I was trying to get you on for the long. I was like, man, I ain't gonna give up, man. I was like, because I saw the energy that you were putting out, and I was like, man, this is it right here. This is amazing.
I'm just so grateful that you, like I said, you had the patience, man, to deal with me. Because, like I said, I missed the first one, and I'm so sorry. But I'm glad that you had the patience and you wanted me bad enough, because I really wanted to be here, man. I don't get invited a lot. I wish I did, right? I want to share, but it's like I'm not going to chase nobody for an interview, right? So when I do get a chance to come on, I'm more than honored, and I just appreciate you for having me, man.
Nah, man, big time. If anything, really is what you did to become who you are and what you're able to contribute and bring to the community and to the world. So that's where it really is, because you had to go through all the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs, and building and SOPs and protocols and VAs, and you know, because building a business, even though, you know, I think social media kind of makes it look pretty and cute, and, you know, especially with a lot of the branding and marketing going on, building a business, you're going to get hit a lot.
I'm telling you, man. You talk about building a business and having a wife and having kids. And, like, this shit is a lot, man. This shit is a lot. But, yeah, man, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, so now how can people that are interested into getting into commercial cleaning, just learning, what's the best way for them to reach out to you? How do people get started? To the listeners that are listening, you know, like, nah, you know what? I'm going to put destiny in my hands. This is what I'm looking to do. What's the best way for them to get started?
Yeah, the best way to get started would be to go to www.cleanbiz, so that's B-I-Z, cleanbiznetwork.com. So the www.cleanbiznetwork.com. Check out everything that we have there. We have starter kits available to help you get started. And then I understand, too, if you like me, you're not just about to go give away $1,000 to some guy on the internet, right? So if you want to take it slow, you want to hold hands first before we take it to home base, go ahead and find me on YouTube and listen to a couple videos there. I'm AJ Simmons on YouTube. Just type in AJ Simmons. It'll come right up. Watch some YouTube videos, binge watch. Honestly, I got so many videos there. You probably can figure out how to get started and find your own equipment without my starter kits. And if you can do that, more power to you. Shoot me a DM later on in your journey and just thank me for the free information if you do it that way. But either way, I'm here to help you. Look me up on YouTube. And then if you really need me, you can reach out to me, AJ@cleanbiznetwork.com. Yeah, that's right. AJ@cleanbiznetwork.com is my email address if you need to email me. And we can schedule a phone call as well. So that's what I got, man. Thank you so much, Tolu, for having me.
Nah, I appreciate it. And my mastermind is, if you're looking to get into the cleaning biz, you know, I love dealing with people that have years in the game. You know, it's not Johnny Two Shoes overnight. You know, it's somebody experienced that can take you, that has testimonials, that have hundreds of people that have been through it, that they can pour into you, you know, so that way you can kind of hit that stride in what you're looking for. You're looking to start the business. You're looking to provide for your family. You don't want another man dictating, you know, the terms and conditions. Like, nah, you can't go that weekend off, or nah, we need you. So look, this is areas and these are places, these are resources, because, you know, the whole podcast, Mastermind Your Life, you know, we're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about legacy character. We're talking about, you know, really building your own. So, you know, y'all, till next time, y'all take care. I'm going to chop it up with AJ a little bit afterwards. I appreciate you, Masterminders. Go subscribe to his YouTube. Follow him on Instagram. Again, don't wait. Don't be the person talking about, you know what, I'm going to go check it out in a little bit, you know, a couple of, because that always the person that never ends up doing nothing. Stop what you're doing. Go to the site. He already mentioned it. I'm going to leave all the links below in the podcast and the video too as well. So go check it out. All right. Much love, y'all.
Thank you for listening to the Mastermind Your Life podcast with Tolu Owoyemi. We hope you enjoy. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Tolu on Instagram at TOLU.OWOYEMI. Keep mastering your life, and we'll see you here next time.